Here I come. I sense something elusive.
Stay a while and listen. Well met.
You are not prepared.
This better be good.
Existence is mysterious.
Loud and clear.
Hello there.
Greetings, traveler, and welcome to the Recluse.
Welcome to episode 214 of the Blue Recluse. My name is Martin Larsen, and you're listening to the podcast about everything Blizzard. It is Sunday, December the 9th, 2018, and with me today, somebody I don't have here is not Tom. Well, it is Tom that I don't have here, I guess, if I have to try and speak, because he's been traveling. So apparently it's something to do with time zones and stuff. Excuses. But someone I do have here is Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, especially after that intro. It was pretty epic. And we had some technical difficulties, but I think for the most part we're up and running and we're ready to go. It's one of those days.
It is one of those days. And for those who are watching on the stream, then there's a little bit of a different camera angle on me. Hello there, stream. Because apparently my main webcam decided to not work anymore. So I only have my laptop webcam. It's over here to the side. I cannot put it in front of me because that's a huge ass screen in the way, Michael. You can see my predicament, right?
Yes, I can. And I wish that I had turned to the side too, so that it would be sideways talking heads, just looking at each other. I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah, we should have totally done that. That would have been an easy fix. So also, for those of you who then are watching the stream, all this over here is my girlfriend's part of
they
the
can't
closet.
see that, Marty. They can't see that.
Oh, that's good. In that case, there is nothing over here. This is my studio.
I've handled it.
Good. All right, it's been an interesting week. I don't know if it's been an interesting week in Blizzard world, but it's been an interesting week for both of us because we've been traveling and doing stuff, right?
Yeah, and I went to Disneyland. So I went to Disneyland and Universal Studios, so I was completely cut off from the Blizzard world for a good 5 days, I believe, from Saturday through Wednesday. I got no Blizzard action in, and when I came back, all I wanted to do was play World of Warcraft. But it still took a day or two because I couldn't do anything. I was so tired still. But yesterday I played a good amount, and it's good to be back in.
All right. Yeah, for me, I've been traveling since Wednesday last week and up until Friday. So I actually had the weekend to do stuff, but I was just like, oh man, it's so hard being on a vacation. I need some time off to just relax and stuff. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. So mostly real world stuff going on with us, and to be honest, other than grumbles and complaints and things like that, there's not a whole lot going on, and I feel, at least I might just be missing things, but I feel like there's not a whole lot going on in the Blizzard world, which speaks loudest right now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think it is around, Christmas time is coming up, or the holidays are coming up, so probably not too much going on. We have a little bit of things here and there that people have been talking about, liking and disliking, and the usual.
Yep.
So how about we start about some HGC season 19 information?
I could easily just be quiet, and that would convey everything that is needed to know. Because as of right now, as far as I know, unless something has been released in the last couple days that I missed, there has been no information regarding 2019 Heroes of the Storm professional scene. Blizzard has been quiet. Usually they start releasing things and letting us know, hey, these are our plans for the next season. Here are some changes. Here are some things that we like, things like that. And we haven't heard anything. It's been quiet, a little bit nerve-wracking, to be honest, because a lot of pro players are starting to wonder, hey, what's going on? Am I going to be doing anything next year? Do I need to figure something out? Because they have no information from Blizzard at all right now. This is coming on top of their proposed changes. We've discussed this, they were planning on doing XP changes. and it's live on the PTR. People have been testing it out, and on the pro side, they are not happy with them. They are not happy at all. They feel like it's simplifying a lot of the game, and they feel like it's been dumbed down, that their decisions don't mean as much, and it's kind of trivial to them. Essentially, what they're doing is the changes in the way that the game is starting to move towards it. It's like all the little intricacies that the pro players are able to do, it's been simplified so that normal players can pull it off a little bit easier. But for them, it's like, well, what do we do now? Like, it's boring. Like, it doesn't mean as much. So there's a lot of things going on in terms of what is going to be the future right now of the HGC. That coupled with we recently Gillyweed, who has been a staple of the HGC scene for quite a while now, pretty much since its beginning. She made her switch from StarCraft 2 over. She's leaving the scene. She is going to Rocket League. Yeah, she dabbled in it a bit this year, like we got to see it, and she did great. But I guess they offered her a bigger opportunity, and due to like time management and things like that, she's gonna be over there. So as much as I hate to see her leave like the heroes scene, I hope that she'll come back every now and then and do her thing. But more power to her. She's one of my favorite casters and analysts. She puts a lot of work into what she does. So definitely well-recognized talent right there, and I wish her the best. But as of right now, we're kind of in a dark place in terms of Heroes of the Storm and what the future holds for the professional scene.
Okay. Well, pretty interesting. Because I feel like I don't follow Heroes of the Storm like too closely, but I feel like when I do hear stuff, it is a lot of the time that the community doesn't feel like Blizzard is doing enough for the community, especially and that's because I'm following on New Zealand. Someone from New Zealand, I don't know what that's called. Someone from New Zealand, and especially they feel like that Blizzard is not doing enough for the Australian, New Zealand, that side of things. So it is quite interesting that now we're just not hearing anything.
Yeah. So this is it's building on top of the bad stuff that Blizzard has going on already that we know is happening, like financial reasons. So some people are contributing it to, is this a unfortunate side effect of some of that stuff that's going on? Like, we know that people like higher ups are telling them you need to start cutting slashing like prices in certain areas, like money. And if they start seeing that perhaps like the HGC is not profitable, then perhaps they're telling Blizzard to downscale or remove it as a thing. So we don't know. Like, I'm not saying that that's what's going on, but that's one of those theories that's going around.
One of the concerns, I guess.
Yeah, and with what we've seen recently going on, it's not so far-fetched as it might have seemed like a couple of years ago.
I find it so... But I know we probably shouldn't talk too much about it since we're Blizzard-oriented, but I just find it really interesting to see the whole gaming community at the moment, because there is some pretty big hitters who's been in the news the past 3 months or this year, whatever. I feel like all the big companies, EA has been a lot in the news, Activision has been in the news, Bungie has been in the news, who's part of Activision, Bethesda. I mean, it's like all of them at the moment it feels like they're all letting the communities down, and then there's also a lot of talk about entitlement among gamers and things like that, and even in our household with my roommate, we've talked a lot about it. What is it? What's actually the cause to all this? Because what I'm saying is that we're used to getting quality products from these big companies, and all of a sudden now they're starting to fail. They're failing on delivering on that, and and where I'm saying, well, we're used to it, and that's why we haven't questioned it in the past. So, I mean, I'm just pre-ordering everything as long as it has the Blizzard tag on it, right? So, and then my roommate is saying, yeah, but that's part of the problem, right? Because if you are a company that wants to make money, and obviously you realize that, oh, our company has a quality stamp on it, so we can basically release anything, and people will buy it. And but just what I think that is showing right now is that, yeah, you can do that once or twice maybe, but then people will start, feeling a little bit offended.
Yeah, I think what we're starting to see in gaming as a whole, and it's affecting Blizzard too, is it was always like the dream that video games would become such a huge thing that you don't have to feel ostracized for enjoying video games or playing video games or anything like that. And we're starting to get to that point where like everybody plays video games, or a large portion of people play video games. And because it's gotten so big, it started to become more corporate. More corners are being cut, and we're seeing the rise of like so many indie games, like these smaller passion projects, while the bigger, more trusted companies are starting to let people down. And the big successes have been the ones that we've been waiting for many years, and the ones that weren't rushed out. So I know like BFA is having problems and it feels rushed, and some people are saying 8.1 is going to make it to how it should have launched. Like if we let it bake a little bit more, then we would have been in this situation. And the problem is that there's always something to be worked on, but it started in such a bad space that like even I think if you go back to Mist of Pandaria, like even though it got better as time went on, once you lose a certain portion, unless it's a new expansion, you're not going to gain all of them back, or even a large portion of it. Like they just see the expansion and they associate it with the negativity that they felt, and that persists throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, and I mean, even in Mist of Pandaria, I mean, the game felt like it, even in the beginning, it felt like it was in a really good state. So it was actually sort of like the opposite problem they had back then, that was too much to do, or the player felt that was too much to do in the beginning, and that's when they had to reel stuff a little bit more in, and things like that. So I sort of feel like it's a little bit in the in the opposite end of the spectrum, but yeah, but overall, it is really it's interesting to see, and I think the next few years will among all these companies will show who gets it and who doesn't get it. And at the moment, I'm worrying a little bit that I don't think that Activision Blizzard is getting it. Because we did hear from some of the financial calls and all the interviews and all the talk that's been lately that that Activision looked at the year Blizzard launched Overwatch and so, whoa, we made a lot of money on this one game. We want that, but more often. And of course, I can understand that. Your company, you want to make money. I mean, that's how the world turns. But don't forget that it took like 10 years or something like that for that game to be developed. Sure, you could have probably cut it in half if you had just focused on Overwatch from the beginning, because we know it was the remnants of Titan that turned into this. But it also just shows that it's not something that just comes. It's not you just, oh, let's make a game and 6 months later you're done. Or a year later it's done. That's not really how it works. And I mean, we've seen it. It's one of my favorite examples is Assassin's Creed. They decided to let's release a game every year, and sure, I bet they made a lot of money on it, but they also lost a lot of players along the way. I feel like, because people like me, I'm like that's simply too often. I cannot keep up with all that. I would rather have they skip a year or every third year a really good game came out, and then we'll focus on that.
I think that's what most people would prefer, but you know how it goes. Once you get to a certain point, it's, hey, we see a lot of money at that moment, we don't see a lot of money at this moment, what can we do? Let's replicate what we just did. And like Assassin's Creed, it's going to take a few tries of them doing it and messing it up for them to realize that, okay, let's put this back in the oven. Because Call of Duty did that too. and then they changed it so that yes, there's one every year, but they're done by different companies. So it's or different development teams, however you want to say it. So that hopefully they get a better product out of it. And truthfully, I think that they do. I think that it's been worth it. But we're hoping that Blizzard will get it together and do what they need to do in order to make the player base happy, and hopefully they listen a bit more, or at least like communicate with us, because right now on every front it seems like there's a lack of communication.
Yeah, it really feels like there's a big radio silence at the moment, and part of me is hoping it's because they're regrouping behind the lines on whatever and trying to figure out how to go forward. But on the other hand, when you don't hear anything, it is a little bit worrying.
I guess we like to look at things in a more positive light. So perhaps they're packing 2018 up. They're like, you know what, 2018, like, it hasn't been the best, like, with what's going on and all these other things. We made a few missteps here and there. So maybe they're just going to come out of the gates in 2019 swinging, and they're going to throw us all for a loop, and we're going to be happy, and we're going to be like, hey, we're back on track at least. That's the best that we can hope, is that they come out like on all fronts, and they're like, hey, this is what's going on. Boom, 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 boom. We got World of Warcraft, blank. We have Heroes of the Storm, blank. We have StarCraft 3, yes. No, maybe that last one not so much, but a guy can dream.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would totally take a StarCraft 3, or I would even, I really enjoyed that little 3-episode thing that they did with
Nova.
Nova, yeah. Even I'm sporting the Nova t-shirt today. Nice. So, I mean, I would take that as well. It doesn't have to be a fully fledged StarCraft 3, just something along those lines. I would love to see more story content for StarCraft. I love the universe, and I think it was cool. I'd take that.
I would too.
Yeah. All right. Also, if you have been watching YouTube, I have a suspicion some of you might watch YouTube. You might have seen, or maybe you haven't, but if you have, then watch out. There is some Overwatch mobile ads running right now on YouTube, where it tells you to go to a specific URL, and on there they want your details, your login details for your Battle.net account, because you need to sign up for the new Overwatch mobile game, because we know you have phones. So, but this is fake. Blizzard has also not officially said it, but developers on the Overwatch team has said on Twitter that these are fake. Do not do it. It is a phishing attempt to get your Battle.net account details. So yeah, don't sign up. If you already have, contact customer support and change your password, like now.
I didn't even see any of these. I don't watch a lot of like Overwatch stuff on YouTube, so it didn't come across my feed. But speaking of Overwatch, I don't know if you watched them, but the Game Awards were recently. They just happened. What was it? Friday. Friday. Yeah, it happened Friday, and I know Thist went. She was live at the Game Awards, and Jeff Kaplan came out because he was one of the presenters for one of the awards. But congratulations to Overwatch for winning Esports Game of the Year.
Oh, there we go.
So they beat out a bunch of other ones. It's good to see.
Is it deserved?
Probably. Like, it's what? This is the inaugural season of Overwatch League, right? If I'm correct. Just like the unprecedented state of what they're doing with it, like the leaps that they've taken in order to take care of the players and ensure that everyone is kind of taken care of. Like, yeah, there were some missteps along the way, but if you look at it in a wider realm of things, it's pushed a door open for things that we probably never would have thought possible for esports. So I think so. It's not necessarily something that I really watch all that much, but I do occasionally delve in there. I watch the teams. I have a Seoul Dynasty jersey, so well deserved. I feel it definitely appeals to me more than any of the other games that were presented. I forgot what they were. That says volumes right there. So there was StarCraft wasn't up there, and neither was Heroes of the Storm. So Overwatch, good on you. Keep it up. Improve even more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a step in the right direction, right? Because they have the official Overwatch League and with contracts and teams and everything. So I mean, that is definitely, we've talked so much about it on the show that I mean that is a good step in the right direction. There's definitely also room for improvements. But every time I watch something, it's been spectacular to watch and to follow. So yeah, good on you. Big congrats, I guess.
Yeah.
I actually even think I have a sounder for that.
Oh, great job. Yeah.
Good job.
Oh, yeah, really great.
Awesome.
I just realized that we also do sounders on this show. It's been so long. That's when you take one off. You forget how everything works.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we weren't here last week. Like,
we weren't. No.
Bunch of slackers going on over here.
Yeah, people were traveling and stuff.
Going off to Disneyland and moving and just horrible.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Let's talk a little bit about Warcraft.
Yes,
because World of Warcraft, not just Warcraft, but World of Warcraft, everyone's favorite game to hate at the moment, it seems like. Because 8.1 is out next week, this coming week, with some interesting new things in the patch. It's not the largest patch ever as last year in Legion. But,
it's not 7.2.
It's not, but it has some features in it and some new content. And Blizzard made a little survival guide to introduce people to all the new content, and the people loved it, and they made positive comments and upvoted it. And obviously this is a totally stolen segment, joke from Talius and Evitel, because it was a shit show, obviously. No, it's getting downvoted, and people are commenting on it. And I mean, just one of the top comments is "fix your game," and I think that says everything about what the community thinks about Battle for Azeroth at the moment and this new patch. So it really seems like since BlizzCon that Blizzard haven't really been able to get solid ground under their feet. It seems like people are really not happy with them at the moment.
No, I haven't watched a video about it, but I've watched stuff from content creators, and it seems like Blizzard is taking steps in the right direction. So do you feel like, are these comments that people are putting out there, are they warranted in terms of 8.1, or are they kind of like just still going along with the sour taste that they have in their mouth now?
It's difficult because I have to admit, I haven't really followed World of Warcraft too much lately, because as everybody probably know by now, that I stepped out of raiding. I've taken a step back from the game. But it does seem a little bit like, people maybe jumping the gun, because they tend to do that. I do feel like Blizzard has listened. They are doing changes. They are actually trying to fix this. Some of the issues that are in 8.1. If it's enough, I'm not completely sure, but it's really difficult to say without actually playing the content and trying it out. So and I don't go to PTR, so I don't know what's actually available to us. But from what I gather, again, from other content creators, is that yeah, there is some things in there. There is stuff being worked on. My worry, though, is that they have had to focus too much on trying to solve issues instead of creating more content for the patch. It surely does feel like there's not too much new content. Sure, we're getting 2 new the island expeditions, but that's a system that already exists. It's I don't want to say only because that sounds like obviously it takes time to make, but it does, it sort of feels like it's a system that already exists. It's not really new content.
Yeah.
It's just new art really. And then there's a new Warfront. Again, there's not too much different. Sure, it's like different
Themes.
Themes. It's a different theme basically, but the overall system doesn't really change anything. So it sort of feels like they had to focus on fixing issues that probably should have been fixed before the game actually launched, because they ran with the they needed to get the expansion out there. So I don't know.
It's probably a
Maybe
mix
it's
of both, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the people that are holding grudges, and then it's the elemental shamans.
Yeah.
Because like I
shout
know
out to-
that some of the classes are a bit unhappy because Blizzard is not addressing their classes, and I think that kind of comes down to what you already spoke of, which is that they've had to spend a lot of time trying to fix the things that didn't work that they tried to put in, and therefore they put all these other things on the back burner because they feel like, obviously, like, you can buff a class or fix a class all you want, but if the core mechanics of the game suck, then it doesn't matter how good that class is, nobody's going to want to play, period. So they put like a class fix on the back burner so that they could try to fix the Azerite system, which from what I understand, I mean, it's still not perfect, but they're working towards the changes that people wanted, and they make some missteps there, I believe, like in terms of adding RNG on top of RNG and things like that. But I mean, they do give you a bit more options in terms of targeting your gear, which I think that's always a good thing, is like being able to target your gear. Now, I haven't looked at the system like as a full-fledged system yet, so I don't know exactly how that's going to go or what the stats are on those pieces of gear that you're going to get, but the idea of like being able to target what you want is a great thing, because that's I remember when they made the changes in Legion for the legendaries, where you could start working towards like, oh, you just do so many awakening essences and then you can get a legendary, and then if you got one that didn't work for you, then you have less of a chance, or you have more of a chance to get the one that you need next time. So I think that targeting gear is a good thing, as does everyone else.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, sure, in this type of games, it is fine to have some sort of RNG, but not being able to target gear, I feel like it's wrong. It's not what the game is about. I remember back in the days when we did like 5-man dungeons just to get gear, and you're like, oh, I want to go to that dungeon because I know this boss drops what I need to be able to progress or get a little bit better and things like that. And I feel like in that's something that's been missing a little bit in recently, because I mean, gear, I don't feel like gear is that interesting anymore. I feel like you basically, oh, all right, there's some legs dropping here, I'll take them. There's very rarely gear items you specifically target unless it's trinkets, or if it's like a special item like the Drape of Shame from Legion, from Karazhan. But besides that, it doesn't really feel like it anymore. And right now I'm just thinking as well that maybe it's actually something that Mythic Plus people are doing, because I actually think they do. So maybe it's not completely right what I'm saying, but I mean, for me, as a little bit more casual viewing point, I feel like it's not really a thing for us anymore. At least it's just, oh, get into a dungeon. This is an upgrade. Great, let's move on.
Yeah, I watched a video by Preach Gaming. I think I watched it yesterday, and he was talking about the idea of Blizzard is probably spending too much time regarding the rewards, in terms of they're not asking like, okay, would I do this content without the reward that's attached to it? So it's rather like, let's create something and then put a big reward at the end of it so that people will do it simply for the reward, and then they forget the part in the middle where that process should still be fun. Like, I should want to do island expeditions because they're fun, not necessarily because of the reward. Like, people will do that. Like, I would do that even if it didn't award me like anything all that interesting. If I found it enjoyable, I would do that. I still run some old raids, even though I have the gear that I need from them, like in terms of transmog, just because I like going through it and seeing it and looking at how goofy Ragnaros looks with legs. Like, like that stuff is funny to me, and I like doing that stuff for fun, not necessarily because like I don't go out targeting transmog. I just like doing it.
Though, and even with Island Expedition, as you brought up, I mean, I don't find them fun, and I don't find them rewarding.
Yeah, the AP
think,
reward is a little bit low. Like,
and I mean, AP. It's also AP is a weird reward, right? It's like because at least in Legion, I know they didn't want you to carry all those items in your bags and needed to click them and things like that. But it's basically just it does nothing. It's just you get it, but that's it. There's no like, congratulations, big thing on the screen. The number just got bigger or whatever. It's basically, it doesn't feel like you're getting rewarded, and it doesn't feel like that much fun to play. It's great to do in alts because the XP is decent, and on your main, you only want to do it if you're a raider and you need to keep up with your neck piece, and that's about it. There's not too many other reasons to do it unless you're a pet and mount collector.
Yeah, I just started doing them recently. Like, to be honest, I just got the achievement for getting all 5. Like, you gotta get like, you gotta win on 5 different maps or whatever, and then you can unlock. Because Illyria's on the boat, and she has all these things for me that like in Legion with your class order hall, but none of those things appealed to me. Like, I was looking at the tree, and while the end of Legion's tree was you get to have 2 legendaries, like that was something to work for. I was like, oh my god, like, I have to have that. But this one, it's not that interesting, and I'm just like, it kind of feels like it's just kind of there to be there, but it could have done a bit more with it. I think that's kind of the tale of BFA right now, is that it's just kind of there to be there.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. In the previous expansions, they evolved all these systems, and now they're just utilizing all the systems. They're not doing anything new with it. Sure, there is something, but that's not something we'll see. But there is like some procedural generating things in the expeditions, as I understand, and that's probably something they're testing out now, so they can use it in a larger scale later on. I mean, we've seen things like that. For instance, with the challenge mode, dungeons was like the first step to what is today Mythic Plus, but it did take a few iterations for us to get there before it was complete. And I feel like the same is with the war fronts. I actually do enjoy doing the war fronts overall. I have to admit, but you can. I think it's also something that if we look like 1-2 expansions ahead, it could be used for something on a larger scale, or something that's amazing, something that we haven't really figured out yet that we actually want.
I feel like I wish that Warfronts had a bit more to them in terms of like I wish that there was more coordination required, because like I've done it where I just run up with the group that attacks everything, and I've done it where I just collected resources the whole time. But I would like a little bit more in terms of like almost like a raid leader type deal, where like somebody needs to take charge and be like, hey, we need a certain amount of people gathering, we need a certain amount of people over here and a certain amount of people over there. Right now it's kind of just like push, and then eventually we're gonna get through, and that's pretty much it.
I mean, we do know that they're working on a version
heroic,
of it where you
right.
Sorry, what?
Isn't it like a heroic version of it or something like that?
Yeah, well, where you sign up with a group, for instance, your raid group or whatever, and do it, and I hope that they will, do something where that actually makes a little bit more sense. It's a little bit more difficult to do, because I definitely think there's potential for that game mode, or whatever you want to call it. As I've said, I've done it a lot of times. I've enjoyed just doing it. But to be honest, I think my limit has come right now, at least with the first Warfront, because in the beginning I just did it for fun and to get gear.
Mhm.
And then I started looking at achievements, and I tried to go for those, and now I've ran out of achievements. I think I have one left, but that's like difficult. It's just because you need to target all the rares in there, so that will it's just something that would happen over time if you go for it.
You need other people to help you get them.
Yeah, that as well. People usually go for them. So I've had quite a bit of fun with it, but I'm just running out of things to do right now. So I guess the new Warfront will add things for me to do, because there will most likely be achievements for it. There will be gear upgrades as well. So there is some justification to actually do that content, and I'll most likely have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, but I think I would love to see it evolve a little bit as well going forward, because it does feel like it's just copy pasted the functionality over, and then we changed the designs of the structures and stuff a little bit, and that's it.
That's all you need to do to be a game dever. Okay, just wait for someone else to create something, and then you just copy paste and draw something different so that it looks different.
I guess. But no, I'm looking forward to see what's going on with the story, at least. I think that the World of Warcraft storyline so far is amazing, and I'm looking forward to see, because there is something new that Blizzard has been working a little bit on when it comes to storytelling, and that is that you might actually, at least when you play Horde, I don't know if the Alliance side has gotten anything, but when you're playing Horde, you actually have a choice between your war chiefs.
Yes.
Well, there's only one right now, but there might be a contender in the future.
That's pretty cool. Like, giving player a choice, like, even if it's an illusion of choice, where like it might be like different paths for a little bit, but they all kind of converge on the same area. Like, even if you do that, just the idea that like you're experimenting with something like that, it creates something new, like a fresh feeling. It's something awesome, and it's really difficult to really make it so that like if you do a choice in an MMO that it affects your overall standing within the game like too drastically, because like I don't know how that would go. But
I mean, you probably could do it, but I think you would have to think it into the game to begin with. I think World of Warcraft is too big of a beast right now. It's to actually be able to do that like properly. But as you said, as just the illusion of you having a choice will help a lot. Because I remember in Legion, we even talked about it on the podcast, that there was this specific quest where where is it? What is it called again? The Valkyria area with Odin and all that in Legion.
Highjaw? Oh no, why am I going so far back?
I don't know.
Stormheim,
there it is. There is a quest line there where you come to this small encampment. There's some Taurens living there, and they send you out to do stuff. When you come back, there's some goblins there who has taken over the camp, and the Taurens are gone, and the goblins send you out to do stuff. And I'm like, I refuse to do these quests, because I can read between the lines. I understand that these goblins have obviously killed the Tauren, and they're buried out back somewhere. And my character is not that stupid. My character knows that this is what's going on. I want to kill those goblins instead. So I would definitely like to see just like something small along those lines could work out great, because that's actually, it helps the player being a little bit more engaged. You can even role play if that's what you want to do, and it doesn't really, for the huge story arc, it doesn't change anything. It's a small little thing. It's a side quest. It wasn't even a main quest. It's a side quest, and you can choose how you go about it. And I think that would be a win-win for everyone, to be honest.
I don't know how they could implement something like that in the terms of what does that look like to the world as a whole. Like, is it like kind of like an instant type deal, like as you're going through it the scene changes, like, or if I'm flying over, like, can I suddenly see you like just destroying all these goblins, and then I see you like destroy my quest giver? Like, I think that poses a challenge. But if they made it more of like an instant type deal where like you can choose like, okay, I want to help participate in this versus I don't want to and I'm going to rebel against you, then all of a sudden it kind of phases you into an instance where you are now going against it, but everything that you see is what you see, or maybe what other people that chose the same thing did.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big challenge is if you're playing with a friend and that friend did another choice, then that's
PvP,
probably
World PvP, you're all of a sudden you're flagged. You and your friend got to do battle to the death because you chose different things. There you go, boom.
there you go. No, but because even in StarCraft: The Old Republic, because you had the light side choices and the dark side choices, and when you were doing a dungeon and one of those choices came up, it was basically like a dice roll. So if everybody else has chosen light side and you have chosen dark side and your roll is up, then that's what's going to happen. And I mean, it's very fun for that one person who is dark sided among a bunch of Jedis, but the rest of the group is not finding that particularly amusing. It's not like I'm talking. Maybe I'm talking a little bit out of experience here, but but I mean, I think Star Wars is actually proof that it can be done to a certain extent. That you feel like you have choices, but in the end, it doesn't really matter too much now, does it?
Yeah, because you can make up for that in other ways and get your points back over to the light side if you're goody. Like, you can fix that. But I don't know, it's a challenge to do something like that, but I'm sure there are ways and they can make it work. It's just, how much do they have to do on their end to make it work? I guess that's the real question. And then to what scale?
I guess it could also be like an interesting thing to see from a storytelling point of view, that because it's basically a poll, an in-game poll. What do players like? What do players want from a story? So if you're unsure, you can just make, again, not just, but you can make a quest line like this where it's like, all right, where do people stand? All right, 75% think that going with this guy is better than going with this other guy. So they can both use it like in if you know. They can use it in different ways. They can use it as like a poll, as I said, but they can also kind of like see that, oh, okay, that's what they want. We'll pull them in the other side because they will hate it, and then we'll tell a good story about it. So I don't know. It's a possibility, Blizzard.
Yeah.
You got it for free right here.
You're welcome.
So yeah. All right. I think we basically ran out of topics that we wrote down that we wanted to talk about. We still have some time to go. So I was thinking, because we know that Blizzard is working on mobile games, and now there's been a little bit of a mobile ad for Overwatch going around. Is there any of the franchises where you would like Blizzard to make a mobile game, or one of the IPs or whatever? Is there anything coming to mind where you're like, that would be perfect? And you're not allowed to say pet battling for World of Warcraft.
I wasn't going to. I think I've spoken on this before, and truthfully, I think this could work for Warcraft and StarCraft type deals, where I think it would be cool if they had like a tactical, how do you say, like a tactics-based game, like grid-based, almost like a XCOM style, but on a smaller scale. And you just have like these small maps, and you choose your units in the beginning, and it's a turn-based tactical game. Like, you can see it easily with StarCraft, but you can also make it work with like Warcraft. You know, like back in the day with Warcraft 3, you had archers and footmen and things like that, and then you can have a hero unit. And
I would say even in Diablo you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, you could like choose who you want to be. You could be like Diablo, and then Diablo has like a slew of different minions that you can pick. And think about it in the sense of, before every battle you choose your loadout of units. Like, if I'm Jim Raynor, then I can choose to have like 2 fire bats, 3 marines, and maybe like 2 medics or something like that, and then I go out onto the field and we do what we can to try to win the map. Like, I think that would fit well into a mobile thing, because essentially those games are easy to map over to just a finger push. Put the unit, go over here, click attack, blah 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 blah. It's super easy to figure out, and I think the turn-based nature of it just makes it super easy to translate.
Oh man, I want that now, Michael. Are you aware of that? I so want that now.
Like, I think that would be pretty awesome, and I don't
be
think that it's out
amazing.
of the realm of things that they could do, and the things that they
No.
could do well.
Oh, that would be amazing. Even just like if they made XCOM for mobile. I don't know if it's actually a thing. I don't think it's a thing. I haven't seen it, but I would love that. I love the XCOM games. I love that turn-based style of gameplay, and it actually would be perfect for the phone as well. So yeah, that's a really good idea. I want that.
You're like, I don't even know what to say now because that is just.
No, I didn't know what to say before because I'm not that creative, but I'd just love that. Can I take that? That's my pick.
I would pay for that. I would pay $15-20 for something like that. If it was like robust, and we know how Blizzard likes to do their everything has to be multiplayer nowadays, but I mean, they could easily add a multiplayer component. It would add obviously a bit more for them to balance, but I mean, you could do a single player thing, like, great. And if you make them small scale enough, so like each one is not taking you 40 minutes to do, but like 15-20 minutes, or even like 10 minutes, like just doing one map at a time, like, I think that it can appeal to the large scale people who like to play games in a longer format, and people who like to play it in a short game format.
I mean, even if you don't finish it, I mean, if it just saves between each turn, so you can just, because a lot of the time I find with phone games is that something else is happening I need to pay attention to, so I
Yeah.
close down the game. But as long as I can just close it down, come back to what I was doing, then I think it would still work. I think it's a brilliant idea, Michael. Why are you not a game developer at Blizzard?
Because that's like my one good idea out of the 50 that I say before it, that people are like, what are you talking about? It's my diamond in the rough.
Yeah. But no. To be honest, one of the things that I've been thinking about before it sort of got leaked was actually that I think Blizzard could do like a pit battle Pokemon type of deal with World of Warcraft, because it is sort of already, that whole thing is sort of already established inside World of Warcraft. I don't think they should be connected. I think they should be the two different kind of games, but I still think that there is something that could work, and maybe they could make some kind of cross-play where stuff that you catch out in Warcraft Go or whatever we're calling it, that you would get them as pets in World of Warcraft or whatever. But I definitely think that it's something they could do, and I'm so sad that I didn't bring it up on the show before we got these leaks.
I spoke to Frasley about this, and I think Frasley is on the opposite side of it in the terms of like he really wants it, but he pretty much, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Frasley, I apologize if I'm not putting you in the right light here, but I think he said that it would almost have to be connected to the main game. And if it wasn't, then it wouldn't work as well, or something like that. So kind of the opposite of you, where you don't want it connected to the main game. For him, it's almost a requirement.
It's not that I don't want it. I mean, I could totally see it work, but I'm just saying that it don't have to be. I think it could totally work as a standalone thing, and I don't know. I mean, I can see it from both. I'm both sides. I'm on either. I would probably play it, most likely.
If it wasn't connected to the main game, here's the problem that I would see, is that so many people would be, if they really enjoyed the experience and they went in and they caught all these things and they were super happy, and then let's say they're a new player and then they go to World of Warcraft because they played this game, then they're like, why do I have to catch all these things again? Like, I've already done it over here, so now I have to do all this questing, but also I have to catch everything that I already have in my phone game over here. Why can't I just transfer it?
Yeah, but I think you should see it as two different kind of. I think you have to look at it as two different games.
No,
But
No.
okay, sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
I play Pokemon Go, and I demand that everything I catch in Pokemon Go is available in my Pokemon Blue. Oh wait,
Okay.
that's not the new one.
Okay. No, that's not the new one. Um, but what I really find interesting, and that's something that I thought about as well, is that if they do this, if they go down this road, if they do make like a Pokemon World of Warcraft Go Pokemon version, then they need to add something, because I feel like Pokemon Go is missing something. I don't feel like, I don't know if it's progression or what it is. That's why I stopped playing. I don't feel like there's a reason for me to go out and mindlessly catch the same Pokemon over and over and over again. So there needs to be something else. So it was interesting to when the leak happened that they were saying that people who have tried it say that there's more to it. There's also like a single player experience. They have added things on top of it, and I think that's one of the things Blizzard is actually really good at. To take an existing genre of game or whatever and then add to it, so it gets better and it gets more enjoyable and things like that. And I mean, that's what they've done. That's what they've done with the MMOs, with World of Warcraft, and that's what they've done with Overwatch, and Hearthstone as well. I suppose it's what they're doing with all their games. They try to improve on the formula, and I would love to see how a Pokemon Go would look like in Blizzard's hands.
Yeah. See, I don't know. It's weird. And the mobile market, I want them to do something different. I don't want to see more of the same. Obviously, my opinion might change when it comes out, but the idea of just like a Blizzard-themed Pokemon Go does not appeal to me all that much, because I've already played Pokemon Go and I've played a lot of it, and I'm hitting walls that I don't really have the desire to try to break. So the idea of just the same thing over again with a few things changed doesn't quite appeal to me all that much. But like I said, my opinion could change once I play it. But if they suddenly said that, hey, we have a turn-based tactics game coming out, I'd be all on that, because it's something different. It's something that you don't really see. It's more niche. It's more niche, definitely, but it definitely appeals to me, and I would love something like that. Take a risk. That's what I want them to do. I want them to take a risk, almost like they're doing with like the raid in World of Warcraft, like the next one. They're taking a risk with it and doing different things. Be a company that takes risks more often.
I thought that risk was Diablo Immortal.
The risk was I don't know. I don't even know how to categorize that one, because nobody would be saying anything if it was announced in a different light. So that's just bad PR, as we've said multiple times.
Yeah, I have to agree. Anyway, I think that's what we had for you guys today.
Yeah.
We will now stop talking and close down the bar and get the hell out of here.
Let's do it.
Last orders! Last orders!
If you like esports, I know you do, Michael.
Yes.
Then you should tune in to the latest episode of Nerd This, because the next episode will featuring you, me, and Ryan, and we are talking about esports.
That's right. It's a good one. Definitely check it out. Talking about all the esports, not just Blizzard esports.
All the esports, all of it. So stay around, because after the show we have the Freshly Report, and let us know your thoughts about anything we talked about on this episode, or if you have your own questions, feel free to contact us. Tom, how do you do that?
Tom?
Oh, Michael.
Tom?
How do people do that?
Tom didn't step up, so I guess I'll handle it.
He's still sleeping.
He's still sleeping. All right, you can email the show at thebluereclusepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Blue Recluse. You can also join our Discord at thebluerecluse.eu/Discord. Always something going on over there, whether it's free games or just friendly conversation. Go ahead and check it out. You can leave us a review on iTunes. We love reading those type of things. So if you leave a review, leave it there. You can support the show over at patreon.com/thebluerecluse, or you can find all the information and more, including our show notes, at the website thebluerecluse.eu or thebluerecluse.com.
There we go. And I think that's it. That's all we had to say. So, Frashly, take it away.
Welcome to the Fraser Report, a short news report by me, the awesome gnome, about the world of Warcraft. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Blizzard World in Overwatch is getting a winter wonderland starting December 11th. Sadly, Blizzard World is still only in Overwatch. It's not yet in real life. And Blizz, according to Small Joys, Nintendo Land is under construction at Universal Studios Hollywood and Japan. This thing looks super cool. Orlando will be getting Nintendo Land very soon. The map on the site that is shown looks like what would happen if Disney's Magic Kingdom was made by Nintendo. Hyrule, Yoshi's Island, Animal Crossing, Super Mario Galaxy. It even has the Mushroom Kingdom's castle in the middle. Come on, Blizzard. For Christmas, all I want for Christmas is Blizzard World in real life. 8.1 launches this week. There are many awesome things coming, like improved alt leveling, rep changes for cosmetics, a new war front. One of the big things that's happening is Island Expeditions are getting some major changes, as well as features like better chances for rewards, new islands, and new vendors. As you sail away off to your island expeditions, you'll want to listen to our sponsor for this week. From the people that brought you Illidan's Tell All podcast, I Was Not Prepared, comes a tantalizing new podcast about the untold story of the romance between Bane and the Dark Lady. In Bane Flirts with Death, you will find out that Sylvanas stopped Bane from communicating with Anduin, not for fear of fraternizing with the Alliance, but she feared he would reveal about the relationship from years ago. Look for an Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and Google Podcasts starting December 11th, just in time for some juicy discussion at the dinner table with your friends and family this holiday. So, with the Island Expeditions expanding the rewards and adding pirate hats, it has caused some uproar amongst pirates. There are quite a few pirates that are upset that anyone can get a pirate hat now. Before, it was a badge of honor to get the rep with the Bloodsteel Admirals and gain your hat. They even added a Jolly Roger toy last year for Pirate Day for those, like me, who got the rep. I'm personally A-okay with everyone being able to be pirates. The more the merrier. But a few pirates aren't so thrilled. They said that gone are the days of it being special to be a pirate. One told me that their name is no longer feared in every dirty corner of this island. To that, I remarked at how sorry I was that they lost their job as a janitor. Well, this has been the Fraser Report. Enjoy 8.1 and all of its goodness. Until next time, be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.